Hello, Girl Scouts. Thank you for joining us for a quick run through of eBudde Closeout at the end of the program.
Yeah, here we are at the end.
Yes, you have Laura and Shannon from the Product Program Department here to share some tips and tricks with you as you wrap up the program.
So Laura, if I'm a new TCM this year, I've been working throughout the program to enter in transactions like, allocating cookies to girls and taking payments and entering those in under the Girl Orders tab. But, now that we're winding down, I'm just not sure, where do I start with actually closing things out?
Wonderful. That is a great question, Shannon. So I have chose a troop that I opened up and I am looking at the dashboard. And so all of you should be able to see as a TCM your own dashboard that will look very similar to this. I always start underneath your transactions tab. And this is just a real quick double check just to make sure that we're right here on the second party. You can see the T for any troop to troops that had taken place.
Okay.
Just to make sure that if you did change any cookies with somebody that they had filled in, that they received cookies from you, or if you received cookies that you had properly documented those in here to make sure that your transactions are adding up. You can also filter this to pull up for this one says C, which would show a cupboard. So just making sure that your cupboards are showing and that they're not pending anymore, which then would mean that down here after pending, your final numbers of cookies inside your troop, that total is correct. And that's where I would start.
Okay, so you're just checking the transactions tab then and filtering so you can make sure that all of your troop to troop and all of your covered orders are listed there? Yep. Okay.
Just to make sure that our numbers are adding up before we even start, just to verify in the back end.
Okay.
And then I just jumped over now to the Girl Order tab, and this is where all of our girls that are selling and where we are distributing our cookies. And this is actually where you said that you have already been going through and allocating cookies to the girls and also payments that you have received.
Right. I've been trying to keep up with it throughout the program, but I also want to be able to, I'm thinking maybe I should just double check to make sure everything is there, or maybe you can speak to that a little bit.
Yes, so we're going to assume that all of you out there in our webinar land have already been going underneath the girl, adding in transactions for the girl for cookies that have been picked up, and also adding in monies that have been collected. And so this troop in particular, you'll see down here on this difference line in the total, it says they have 888 negative. That means they are still needing to allocate 888 cookies. And mind you, we still have some time left in the program, so they're still selling, I'm sure. So this troop leader would then need to still be going underneath each of the girls, allocating out those cookies until we can get to a zero balance.
So if my troop, for instance, had like 2 more booth sales coming up in the next couple of days, then that's what I would be doing once they come back, and just like allocating the cookies that they sold at those sales, right? And making sure everything balances out?
Yes, that is exactly correct. And so to close out the program, what we're looking for is this number right here in the corner to be a 0. And there's a few different ways that you'll end up getting there, and it could definitely depend upon your hometown hero donations or even your gift of caring to what this number bottom line might look like to equal up to that 0. And I can give you an example of that. But before I jump over there, I want to make sure that one thing that everybody knows is that as a TCM, we do have our program that closes on March 8th, and you have until March 10th to actually allocate out and finalize any cookies that maybe got sold on that last Sunday. With that, we do say that you are, I'm in quotes over here, saying locked out of the system on the 10th, but that does not mean that you are locked out. What it means is you are no longer able to make changes underneath the actual girl tab for cookies, no moving of cookies, but you're still able to actually allocate money. And so if you're needing to go in still underneath the girl, you can maybe say that her payment, if you're waiting for just, this is a large number, but if it's $376 from that last booth, you would just put that in to balance her to 0 to keep your numbers clear if you really want to reconcile down.
Okay.
So you are technically closed out, or that locked out that we don't like to use, on March 10th from moving cookies. But if on the 12th is when your troop actually meets and you still have those last few trickle-ins of $12 here or $8 there, or gosh, let it be a good 100 from a troop, you still can go ahead and clean up your eBudde by putting in the monies. And after it actually closes out, to balance that out, because some of us, we use our eBudde year to year. So we're able to look into last year and we can see the payments. It's not critical. Us as council do not require your balance to be 0. We just want that one number here and that difference line in total to be 0, but you don't have to balance to 0. But we know a lot of troops like to reconcile perfect, and we're with you.
I like to have it balanced to 0. It just makes me feel better if it's all settled. So,
Yes.
okay, that's good to know. Because I was concerned that that meant that I couldn't like get back into it at all. And, you know, I know you'll probably speak to reports later, but I want to make sure I have access to the information that I need, because I just know I'm going to get a lot of questions from parents and everything after the cookie program, especially like you said at that first troop meeting that we have after everything is done. Okay, good.
Well, let's be honest. We know that when you do have the reward meeting, when you hand out all the rewards to the girls,
right,
your cookie time has passed and you might have forgot what all the rewards were. So you can still access eBudde to pull the report of what rewards.
Yeah.
So it's open.
I could keep track of it otherwise. Okay, that's great to know.
So I want to show you an example real quick of what the 0 looks like. So I'm going to actually jump into last year's program real quick, just to show you a troop that closed out to 0, 100% allocated out the cookies, the ideal way, working out perfect for them. I'm going to jump into this troop real quick. And again, I'm going under the girls' orders. And you can see here down on the difference line, they were able to allocate all their cookies out, making it 0. And they were also able to balance their money out. But we sometimes see that down here on this bottom difference line, that there might be cookies that are left here, negative or positive, but could still enter a 0. And let me show you a troop that has a great example of that. Very clear to see. So this troop here, you can see down on the difference line, they still have 2 packages that are showing up.
Okay.
And that is showing right here at the Hometown Hero. So they actually have 2 packages of Hometown Heroes that are being donated, but those are in their physical inventory. Oh, I apologize. So it actually is still showing that they have these 2 Thin Mints that they're donating as a Hometown Hero underneath the inventory, but it balances to 0 because of this here. So if you do still have numbers down here and you end up in a 0 on that total difference line, that is when you will know that everything is okay. It's just what you still have left in hand. And please don't get too confused if you do have pluses and minuses on this bottom difference line, but it equals 0. That does happen, and there's a few scenarios that causes that to happen.
All right.
But Shannon, I do want to point out here also, this troop did not balance to 0. And again, that is not a requirement of council. It is not a requirement of the troop, but they still obviously had a few collections that maybe needed to be made after the program. I would like to go over a question that is very common that we get, Shannon, and it's, what if I still have some inventory to sell?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so sometimes we have a troop that maybe has 25 packages that are still waiting to be sold at the end of the program and that we are needing to close out. We need you to have that 0 balance for us as a council to close out. So every troop has to be 0. And what we ask you as best practices is to be mindful of what girls will still be selling at the end of the program. If you have 3 girls who are still trying to meet a goal and are going to go door to door to sell those cookies, or maybe have a My Sale at an ice cream store or something that they set up, that is definitely still an option because you're able to sell until April 30th.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, April 30th is a final date for you to sell any troops. I mean, of course, we want you to close out on the 10th and be done and start to enjoy the next part of programming, getting ready for camps and all the other fun stuff.
Yeah, troop parties and so on.
But there are situations that happen and there's just a few cookies that are still lingering. We need you to allocate those to girls. So please communicate well with the parents in the troop to know what girls are still selling so you can allocate those cookies under those girls with the expectation that they are going to go ahead and be selling those cookies. So we do want you to notify council if for any reason you're going to have a problem making your ACH debit or have excess cookies, so we can be there to support you the whole way through it. So just please be mindful of those scenarios.
Okay.
All right, so let's say that we have balance down to 0, that we are good to go, and we want to go pop over to rewards because the girls worked so hard for all of this, and now it's time to go ahead and
this is the fun stuff.
Yes, final rewards, and we're going to fill out our order form. And so when you open this, it'll tell you at the top what your per girl average was, which is amazing for this troop. And it shows you girls who have earned stuff. It'll show 0s if they have no cookies allocated and have not earned a reward. It will also show if there is a selection that is needing to be made. So Emma still has a selection. Evelyn sold 6 and she does not have a selection, meaning that the level that she got up to is all accounted for from council, that she did not make it to the first reward choice that is 200 packages for the $10 cookie credits. And I'll show you underneath Emma what I mean. So when I open up Emma, here is where it starts to show the choices. And so once we get right here to that 200 is the first important question. If you're going to choose cookie credit, should they be held at camp or at council for camp or mailed directly to the girl? And real quick, I want to go over the difference of this. If we hold it at council for camp, that means that we turn over the list of cookie credits to the camp department for them to apply directly to your girl's balance. If it's mailed to the girl, that means the card is sent out directly to the parent or the caregiver of the actual girl, not to the service unit cookie manager and not to the TCM. The cookie credits are mailed directly to the caregiver with the girl. And if for some reason you get the cookie credits mailed to you but choose you want to go to camp, you can always still apply them to camp. There is a cookie reimbursement form on the website. So
yes, and I think they can call in and talk to customer service too.
Yes.
About applying those cookie credits to camp. So don't worry if you didn't select the option to have it held at council, but your Girl Scout is registered for a summer camp. It can still be applied to that camp. And just one thing, I'm going to say this as a tip because I put it in the guide, and that is for caregivers, be sure to remind them to take a photo of the back of that cookie credit card with a number on it, because things happen and that card could go missing. But if they have a photo of the number, really it's just the number that they need in order to fill out a cookie credit reimbursement form for something that the girl purchases, or to call in to customer care and get them to apply those credits to camp.
That's the best tip. It really is the best tip.
It is a good one.
So if we were just going to continue to scroll down here, you would start to make selections. I'm going to have her cookie credits held at camp. I'm going to choose her credits and so forth. And you would just go down selecting whatever the girl had chosen that she wanted on her reward order form. And then you would just submit for the girl order. I am not going to submit because I do not know actually what this girl would like, and I do not want to mess up the troops.
Good. That's a good thing.
But I will show also when I scroll down, I'm still on that rewards tab, and I'm going to scroll down, and this will actually show the totals for what your troop is going to be getting. So this is one of those touch bases to show what actually is being earned at the troop level. So with rewards, before we move on, I want to go over one thing really quick. This troop might not have it yet, but what is happening this year is that with our, with our DOC reward, it is an option for DOC shipped. And so that means if a girl had anything that was DOC SHIP will come up on that sales report. But if they had anything that was shipped that had an actual payment for the shipping cost behind it, that they are going to have the option after 24 packages sold to that DOC shipped, either a Hatchimal or a travel case. eBudde does not distinguish the difference between the DOC shipped, donation, or in hand. And so behind the scenes, back end, after everybody's closed out, after the 10th, we will have to calculate out what girls really earned the DOC shipped. At that point in time, we will then go ahead and choose whichever those girls, whatever reward they had chose, and make sure that we get it to the service unit cookie manager. So there's two rewards I want to flag you with: the S'mores Club reward and also the DOC. S'mores Club reward is going to show open to any girl that sold over 300 packages in the cookie program. Just because they're able to choose that S'mores Club reward does not mean they earned it if they did not meet the qualifications in the fall product. But eBudde will open up that selection. We encourage everybody just to fill it out in case you are one that earned it, so we have your information, especially your sizing for the S'mores sweater. And the same for the DOC. If it opens up for you, just fill it out. If you want the Hatchimal or the travel case, we will clean up the system on the back end and then send out a report to the service unit cookie managers of the girls that actually earned that. So if you have any questions, please reach out to your service unit cookie manager too for additional support.
Great. Okay.
Now I'm going to jump over to the sales report where it really gives you a breakdown of everything. Okay, so underneath the sales report tab, it gives you a lot of your troop information. It shows you how many girls that are participating in the program that are actively in your troop. So which sales are going to who, what your per girl average is. I love this sales report. It breaks down a lot. We get a lot of questions over here where it says no. The no is, are you a Juliet? So the 65 cents is the basic amount that you get for per package sold. But once you reach over the level, you're able to get that extra 5 additional cents. And this is just saying no, that you are not a Juliet. So this confuses a lot of people at this point.
So what's the extra level that you're talking about?
So all troops will earn 65 cents per package for just selling cookies. Troops with a selling girl average of 350 packages will then earn the 70 cents per package. So it's an additional 5 cents.
So that means, so is that a 350 per girl average for the whole troop? And they get the 70 cents troop proceeds?
Great question. It's a selling average. So it's the girls selling. And so why you see this 5 cents here on this troop is because when you look right over here, her PGA, so PGA selling is 427, but her PGA registered is 311. But you do not need to worry about that PGA registered because it's PGA selling that will get you that extra 5 cents.
That's cool.
That's a great clarification. And remind everybody, you guys, this is open. So after the program closes, you can open this up and still go through. This is going to show you is just a real quick breakdown of all the sales that have happened troop to troops under the transactions we discussed earlier. A lot of in hand. And right here, you see that DOC shipped. This is going to tell you that they had some DOC shipped packages in there. So that's really how you can see
too. So that's going to be any DOC order that where the boxes of cookies were actually mailed to the customer.
Yeah. Okay. Yes. I mean, you can also see that under the transactions tab.
Yeah.
So.
All right.
Down here at the bottom is just a general breakdown of what the actual overall sales were, what the troop proceeds are, and then council proceeds. And so what over here is the minus amount from payments that have been made from the DOC. So your council proceeds from right here, minus what has been made online, and then the amount that's still owed. So our ACH debit is on March 18th is when we start to do the pull. And so this troop would need to make sure they have that $10,520.90 inside their bank account. And the rest of this extra troop proceeds is all for them.
Gotcha. Be credited.
There are things that you're going to want to be viewing also throughout. We do recommend that you at the end of the program are meeting with your service unit cookie manager. Each service unit cookie manager has a different level of what that meeting means. Where we ask you to print out your sales report, they might just have a phone conversation with you or pop over an email saying, have you had a chance to look at your sales report? This is what it's showing that you're owing council, what is being paid, is everything okay? Some service unit cookie managers have meetings where they meet with each individual TCM of the troop just to make sure their closeout and everything is done. So it's really how each service unit cookie manager runs their unit. We also do have a few units that don't have service unit cookie managers. So please make sure that you're communicating with your volunteer sports specialist or your product program specialist if you don't have a service unit cookie manager for that additional support.
Good. So that's just kind of like a last check-in to make sure everything's copacetic and you have questions and everything's looking good in your eBudde.
Yep.
Great.
And I apologize for that real quick scroll down that I just did, but I jumped back into last year again of this troop because I wanted to show you that we have that reward also for 425 packages for a selling girl average. Again, not registered, but for selling girl average. That is the super seller rewards. And so we always get questions about that. What will happen is right before the ACH debit comes out on the March 18th, so usually March 17th, this one was posted last year on the 18th. You will see super seller pop up on this. I'm underneath the sales report. I'm underneath the deposits. All the way at the bottom, it says super seller. And that was the amount that the troop earned. And so that is $25 per selling girl and then also $25 for the adults. Now, mind you, there is a super seller average that goes up for 625 packages. That is in addition. So then it would be another 25. So 50 per girl and 50 for the 2 adults. So you will see that pop up on your sales report on March 17th, usually by end of business date, right before we do the poll. So whatever our poll coming out of will be minus that amount of that super seller. So I wanted you to see where to find that at.
That's cool. That's awesome. So yeah, obviously that something has to be calculated like after.
Yes.
But before the ACH.
Yes.
Cool.
Awesome. That is really how I would go through my cleanup for the troop. I would start to make sure my transactions are clear, that the girl orders are all balanced out, giving that difference line the 0, that I feel comfortable with the monies that have been deposited in and the balances owed by the girls. I would then pop over to my rewards tab, choosing all of my rewards for the girls. And then the final step is just double checking that sales report to make sure everything's okay, that my bank account is matching up to what it should be and feeling good. Look, I feel good just saying that.
I know. it's done, it's wrapped up, and it's great. And now,
Yes.
after all of this has been completed, this is a great time in the troop because the girls are getting to do the things that they wanted to do. You're wrapping things up for the year. Lots of celebrations are happening, and you should be celebrating. It's a huge accomplishment to have participated in the cookie program and made it successful for your troop or for your Juliet. So
Yes.
great. So if I got really stuck, let's say it's Monday night and I'm trying to get things done, just get everything wrapped up. Well, that's ahead of the Tuesday deadline. But so is it the service unit cookie manager that I would reach out to first? Like that's pretty much my go-to person, right? Or maybe even before then, they're reaching out to me or I'm connecting with them to kind of set up like that phone appointment that you were talking about, or maybe we're meeting in person, or
I'd say yes to all of that.
All of that? Okay.
Yes to all of that.
Good.
Yes, you should be hearing from your service unit cookie manager for support. Yes, if you have questions, reach out to them. And if anything's dire need, anybody here at council is always quick and happy to help you.
Right. Cool.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you all for everything that you do.
Yes, thank you for everything that you do.